Hi everyone! Welcome to our live stream. I'm Sumrine.
I'm Carlos.
And today we're going to go over how to set up Google Assistant on your Matrix device. And we're going to get straight to it.
Yeah, so this is a Hackster guide we previously posted, and now we're going to do a video tutorial as to, show exactly the steps that go into it. And if, you want like a more visual example, you can look at this video for it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with...
Yeah, so for now, we're going to explain what the setup we have is. So we have a Raspberry Pi with the Matrix voice on there, and it's flashed with a few things by default, like the basic Matrix packages, which we'll go over in a bit, and a speaker connected through audio jack. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to look at...
Keep going.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so did I click something by accident?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Alright, so just to get started, we're going to look at the Hackster guide right now. So Matrix Voice and Matrix Creator running...
Can I have the mouse?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go.
Alright, good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so Matrix Voice and Matrix Creator running Google Assistant. Alright, so things using the project, we already went over that. Micro SD card with Raspbian Stretch Lite installed. Alright, so at this point you should just be having your Pi basically just set up, like recently flashed with the Wi-Fi configured, and then you're going to want to SSH into your Raspberry Pi. So here we have the terminal for the Raspberry Pi, and that's just going to be there so we can put in installation commands. Alright, so starting off, you're going to want to install the basic Matrix software, which is what we already have pre-installed to save time. But for now you can install this. Then you're going to do update and upgrade. You're going to install the actual creator packages. Well, it's called Matrix Creator, but it's actually for both. You're going to reboot the device, and then you're going to install the Matrix kernel modules. And the kernel modules is basically what allows, well, part of the kernel modules allows us to access some mics through ALSA, which is what Google Assistant is going to be using. So once you install that, you're going to reboot. And after this, if you want to make sure if it works, in the documentation for Matrix Voice, if you go to Resources and Microphones, you're going to see the same installation, install Matrix kernel modules, and then you're going to see A record and A play. This is kind of like a testing command. It'll record 5 seconds and then play back, so you'll know if the mics are properly set up. Alright, so I'm going to close that. Okay, so now with the basic Matrix dependencies installed, we're going to move on to the actual Google setup. So to set up Google Assistant, it's going to take a little bit of GUI handling. So you're going to have to go through a few web GUIs to actually configure everything. So the first thing, we have some links below for you to follow. So configure a Google developer project. So we're going to open that in a new tab. Go in there. All right. First thing you're going to do is this giant blue button here. You're going to open that in a new tab. And this is essentially our actions console. So of course, since we're doing this through Google, you will be needing a Gmail. So we have one right here that we're using. So when you're on this menu, you're going to create a project. You can call it whatever you want. I'll call it my assistant. And then we're going to create the project. Alright. So this is going to take just a little bit to load, and then we can start moving forward. So just give it a little bit. Alright. And then, there we go. Alright, so now you can choose kind of what you're building, so what this kind of project is. So you're going to want to scroll all the way down, and you're going to see a little green icon that says device registration. So that says, if you can't read it, it says enable Google Assistant for your hardware, which is exactly what we want.
So you have to be signed into your Google account to be able to access this console?
Yeah, okay. So this is, you are required to have a Gmail. That's basically, which most people, I think the majority do. So once you have this, you can stop right there. Just hold on to that tab and go back to the previous tab we were on. So yeah, we enabled it. Okay, so there we go. Once we have we already clicked on what kind of project we're doing. On number 5, we have to actually enable the Google Assistant API for our project. So on the second big blue button, open that in a new tab, and then give it a bit to load. There you go. So, agree to whatever they tell you without reading. Give it a little bit. I mean, I can't really control the speed of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. give it a little bit. I'm guessing because this is a new account, a lot of it takes a while to like, I guess, make space for you. I'm not exactly sure. Because normally it's pretty fast once you do this the first time. Alright. Now essentially the entire tutorial is going through this and setting it up, and then you can set this up for multiple devices on your Raspberry Pi. And what's nice is that you can actually, since it's Google Assistant, you can also communicate with it. You can Google Assistant skills will also work for this, so you can make your own custom skills. And what's nice is that for Android users as well, you can actually interact with it through your Google, what's it called? Google Assistant? Yeah, because Android phones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you can actually interface through it.
Like when you say "Hey Google" on your phone, you can actually have custom apps on that too.
Yeah, like you can kind of like have it interact with it, so you can have it like respond to you through Google Assistant, which is like a pretty nice ecosystem.
That is nice.
Okay, so this is taking a while. I did not.
Interesting.
Create. So yeah, we'll just.
Can you check the speed of other things on the internet? Just curious.
Like a speed tester?
Yeah, or like no, just go to like just try something. I don't know. I can't tell if it's like the internet
let me see, like test domain. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely it's on Google's end, taking some time.
Cool.
So if we really need to, we can crop. You can crop the video, right?
Yeah. No
okay,
worries.
so
we'll crop this part out.
We can, if we're gonna crop it, it'll be I guess beforehand, but let's keep going. It's a live stream, so things happen. So yeah, once we enable the API, which should happen. Come on.
Shortly.
No, I'm gonna refresh this.
Okay.
This is taking too long.
Wait, hold on. Maybe you already will have agreed.
Yeah, let me click again on enable the API. Should not have taken that long. Okay.
Okay. So is this how it's supposed to look?
Yeah. For some reason, it's not showing me the actual like enable API button. Let me check one more time. If not, we'll just keep going, and I hope it's okay.
Maybe because you already did it and...
Oh, wait, no, here we go. You have to select the project. So on the top left, this is another thing. If you have multiple projects, on the top left, you're going to see a drop-down that says select a project. Super important to select that, especially when you have more than one. So, yeah, My Assistant, there we go, and there we go, the Google Assistant API. So we're going to enable that. Okay. There we go. So that part is good to go. And then on down here, you're going to see a credentials option. You're going to click on that. And then you're going to see kind of like a warning that says remember to configure your OAuth consent screen. So we're going to use OAuth to actually sign in, or to like verify that the Google account is ours, and to like sign in so it can use our account's data. So we're going to have to configure that. And by configuring it, it's super easy. You don't actually have to read most of this. Just scroll down. You can also change the name if you want. That's, I guess, the other thing. But just have to choose an email. So timthewizard4000, that's the email we're using. You can change this to whatever you want. I'll just leave it the default. And then save that. Alright, so that's now saved. We can close out of that. So yeah, we can. So let me go back to the guide. Alright, you configure the OAuth account. Okay. Oh,
so
there
we
go.
already did configuring the OAuth account when we clicked our email address?
Yeah, so now we have to set activity control. So the last step here for this page is setting, like, you know, what our account can do. So in activities controls page, just open that in a new tab. And then you're going to want to make sure your, let me look at it, web and app activity are checked, device information, and voice and audio activity. So device information checked, turn on. Voice and audio, turn on. What was the last one? Location?
I'm not sure.
Device, web, and app activity. Yeah, it's already turned on by default.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I also turn on location. It's not, I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, that looks good. Alright, so we can close out of that. And now the next step, which if you look at the Hackster guide, it's actually the second link, register their device model. We'll go on to there and actually move forward. Okay, so remember that tab that I said to keep open? We're going to go back to that one, and we're going to continue off from there. So from there, you're going to click on Register Model. Again, here, call it whatever you want. So Matrix Assistant, I call it. And yeah, even though most people are going to be individuals doing this, you still have to put in a manufacturer name. Doesn't actually matter what you put in there. Just put something. For the device type option, let me see if I can zoom in. There we go. For the device type option, from what I understand, it doesn't entirely matter, but I normally just pick speaker and kind of ignore it. And then on the bottom here where it says model ID, you're going to want to copy all of that. Let me zoom back out to make sure I get it. So for the model ID, make sure you copy all of that, and maybe like in a text editor, just paste that there. Oh, that is too small. That's too small for you to see. So model ID, let me make that a bit wider. Okay. And so we're going to need two things at the end to kind of like set up the Google Assistant. You're going to need your model ID and your project ID. So the model ID actually does have the project ID. So if you just go here and copy the beginning part, the portion. Let me also zoom in a bit more so you can see exactly where. So the beginning portion of your model ID is your project ID. So we're going to need that later. It's just to hold on to. So there we go. So we'll hold those values for now and then move on. Okay, so we have that. We're going to register the device. There we go. All right, the next part is to download our credentials. So where it says download OAuth 2.0 credentials, just click on that. There we go. And do you know where this is saved to?
My guess is downloads.
Let me make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in downloads. Yes. All right, so once you downloaded it, you're they're gonna give you a command to transfer it over to your Raspberry Pi. So that's the next step we need to do. So this command down here, you're gonna copy it. I'm gonna open it up here so I can modify it with the proper information. So this is a command we're using to actually send it to the Raspberry Pi. So scp downloads. Here you can change it to whatever folder it is. For me, it's gonna be in downloads, and as far as I know, there should only be one. This is the first time we're doing it on this computer, so there should only be one secret in there, because this just looks for any of them starting with this name.
Okay.
And then now we're gonna actually put in the username. So here we go. Make it complete longer. So for the username, it's pi. The pi's IP address. There we go. And then the path that you want to drop it in. So this is gonna be in the home directory. So there you go, in the user's home directory. So we're going to leave it in there, and I'm just going to type that into the terminal. So I'm going to open up a new tab. So this is going to be on your computer's terminal. So I'll paste that in there, and type in the Raspberry Pi's password. And if it worked, if I go to the Raspberry Pi and type in ls client secret, there we go. So it actually did transfer over to the Raspberry Pi. So that's all you need to do for that part. So let me clear the screen.
So you just did ls and then...
Yeah. No, I mean, ls is to list a directory, but I just use it for the autocomplete. Yeah,
okay,
like
you just wanted to see if it was there.
Yeah, I just wrote client and then put a press tab to autocomplete it.
Gotcha, okay.
So that's there. And now we can go back to the guide. So we can actually, let me delete that. Go back to the Google guide we're following. Okay. So now we already have the credentials on our device. We're going to click next. So for specified traits, you can actually leave that alone. If you're experienced with this and you want to tinker with that, that's fine. But for this guide, we don't need to do this. So I'm going to leave all of them off. And there we go. So we have our device registered. So let's see. I mean, back to the Google guide. We're going to edit model. Yeah, we're pretty much done with this page. So the next page, install SDK and sample code. If you go back to the Hackster guide, you'll see that it's also the third link. So we're going to go back there. So this is where a lot of the dependencies for Google Assistant on a Raspberry Pi is going to be installed. So I'm going to click on that. There you go. So this is essentially using Python. So when you have the option between Python 2 and 3, always choose 3. Because Python 2 will be deprecated in within the year. So always choose 3, and you're going to want to copy these lines one at a time. So yeah, just copy these one at a time and then put it in your Raspberry Pi's terminal. And that will install Python 3 and a virtual environment to hold all the dependencies. So I already have all this installed. I'm just going to activate the virtual environment, and you should be here at this point. So moving back, scroll down. This is just more dependencies you're going to install for the virtual environment. So let me zoom in a bit. Get the package, copy, copy, terminal, go back, copy terminal, copy this into your terminal again. It's just repetition. And then when you get here, the last thing you copy and paste, this part is where you actually use the credentials that we downloaded to the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to copy this, put it in my text editor, and I'm going to edit it to match what I actually have. So the only thing we have to edit is the actual path to the file. So I'm going to go back in here, get the file's name. So I'm going to grab the file's name and then paste that, just remove this part of the command for it. Path to client secret-id.json, just remove that and put in the actual path. Oh, let me zoom out, because it kind of wraps the text, so it should kind of look like this when you're actually pasting it in. So let me copy that. Back to the terminal. If I copy this and paste, there you go. So once you paste it, if everything's okay, it'll give you a URL. So you're gonna want to, depending, like here I have the nice option of clicking it and it'll open it, but for some you might have to like drag and highlight. Okay. So Tim Merlin. Okay. So once you open the link and you're there, you're gonna want to allow everything. Just give it all the permissions it needs, because I mean you're the one making it, so obviously you trust yourself, I hope. Okay. So once you're done, you're gonna receive a code. Just click on this button to copy it, go back to your terminal, and then just paste it in there. And if that worked, there we go. So the credentials are there, and the Raspberry Pi has everything it needs. Almost, or well, almost there, almost there. Okay, so we authenticated it. What's the next step? Credentials are saved. All right, so now we're actually at the part where now we have all the dependencies we need. We're gonna download the repo that we have, to have it interact with the Matrix voice, and then actually start the assistant. So I'm gonna copy this. Oh, actually, sorry. We're gonna move on to step 3, and then you're gonna want to install Git, which we already have installed, and then using Git, you're gonna clone the repository here. So we're in the home directory, we're gonna clone it there. So just run that git clone, and then you're gonna cd into the directory, which is in that we have it right here to move inside. And then if you remember before, I said to save the model ID and the project ID. This is where we're gonna use it. So the command to actually call or to start the Google Assistant requires both IDs. So here we go. Project ID, your project ID. So let me, I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And then on the top for the model ID, the same thing. Just replace that. And yeah, that should be good. So I'm going to copy that, move back to the terminal, and then paste it. And hopefully it worked. Let's find out. Alright, so there we go. Alright. Let's see if we can you move the camera on the device?
Do you want just the device, or do you want the screen and the device?
No, just the device.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Hey Google, what time is it? Hold on. Hey Google, set the volume to 100. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 5:48.
Okay, that's nice. Also, if it sounds a bit low, you can easily fix that. So
here, I'm gonna put it on the screen so they can see the screen and. Okay, there we go.
So let me open a new tab and SSH again. Oh, my bad. I'm gonna open a new SSH session to show you, because we're using ALSA to interact for the audio. So if you do
a mixer set 99 or 100.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, a mixer set 99 or PCM, I think.
PCM.
I think it's all caps PCM.
All right, hold on. PCM, what, 100%?
Yeah.
Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 5:48.
There we go. Okay, so you can use that command, a mixer set PCM 100%, and that'll boost the audio. And also telling Google to set the volume on their side to 100. And what you could also do is, the other more hands-on approach is ALSA mixer. If you just want to manually move it up and down for whatever reason. Yeah, that should be pretty much all you need. Yeah, there's you have the event logs going on here, and yeah, the LEDs will change on and off. And then this is essentially Google Assistant. So you can make skills for it, do whatever you can with a normal assistant. I mean, some restrictions because it's not an official
Google,
assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll get the job done for whatever you want.
Okay. Awesome. So.
All right, you gonna shift the screen back or?
Oh, to us. Yeah. So that's all it is.
Yeah.
Google, what's the temperature?
The temperature in Miami Beach right now is 80.
Be jealous, everybody else. Okay, so let's switch back to us. Wow, that was quicker than I thought it was gonna be, which is good. So let's see, lopsided video. So yeah, that was how to set up Google Assistant. As you can see, it wasn't too bad, and it's pretty responsive. It's pretty quick.
Yeah. You're gonna like whisper, "Hey Google,
well,
what time is it?"
5:50.
Yeah, but they also couldn't see how quickly so.
Oh, I mean here, if here. So here, we go like, "Hey Google, what time is it?"
It's 5:50.
So
yeah, it's very, very quick to respond.
There. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
Sure, here's one of my favorites. What's a computer's least favorite food? Spam.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, sorry about the volume. Let me disconnect that. All right.
That's really funny that it has a kind of like
yeah,
noise.
I mean it has the basic features you want. But yeah, that's pretty much the guide. In the future, we might go back and do the Alexa guide, which we know some users might appreciate that as well for having like a video tutorial. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, we have some announcements. So at the beginning of the episode, I think for some reason the introduction of what this guide was kind of cut off. But this was Google Assistant, setting it up on the Matrix devices.
I mean, at this point, I know.
At this point, you know, but just saying that again. Anyway, so announcements. We have a Snips contest coming up. We're going to announce it really soon. It's going to be like near the beginning of May. It's with Snips on Hackster, and it's also with ARM. And so there's going to be like some fun challenges. We love working with Snips, so fun voice assistant projects are sure to come out of that, so we're super excited. We recently did a Project 14 live stream. It was their first live stream, and it was on their birthday, on their second birthday. And they also launched this competition called Month of Robots, and so you should go check it out. I will put the video of the live stream we had with Project 14 in the description, along with the Month of Robots link, so you can submit a project. There's some cool prizes, and we're also gonna post a blog soon with our robot arm, so you can see there's also other people posting fun blogs and with robot projects they're making, so that's super fun. We were at Miami Maker Faire this past weekend, so that was a lot of fun. We were there Saturday and Sunday. We met lots of cool people locally who are working with hardware or in maker spaces or organizing hackathons, and we had a great time kind of showing them hey, look, our robot arm, and hey, look, we can do cool stuff together, and just even seeing other people's robots. There was that FRC robotics team was there from a local school, and they had some really cool robots to show as well, so that was a lot of fun. Also, last but not least, we have a workshop at FIU tomorrow, where we're going to, kind of show some cool projects, talk about IoT with the Matrix Creator and Matrix Voice. We'll definitely post some pictures and videos so you can see afterwards what went on, but, if you're around the area, if you go to FIU, you should come check it out. It's in PG 112, as far as I remember. Okay, cool. So I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, so that's it. That was episode 119.
Which is our 20th live stream, which is crazy.
Yeah, for setting up the Google Assistant on your Matrix device for creator and voice. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome.